What's going on, folks, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about my top 3 factors that go into every duck hunt that I go on. So stick around because we're getting started right now. What's going on, folks, and welcome back to the channel. And like I said, today we're going to be talking about my top 3 factors that go into every duck hunt that I go on. But before we get into today's video, if you have not checked out the Duck Roost podcast that Kate and I have started, please go check that out. Give us a follow, leave us a rating. We really appreciate your support on the Duck Roost podcast. It's available on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. So go check that out. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and be sure to tap that notification bell so you'll get notified and you won't miss out on any future content. We're a few weeks away from our duck season here, and we cannot wait to share this upcoming season with you, as well as the tips and tricks along the way. Now, let's dive into today's video. Now, my top 3 factors that go into every hunt, and I'm going to spit these out in level of importance to me. I've got these listed 1, 2, and 3 in level of importance of how I see it, okay? So here we go. Now, number 1, location, location, location. Now, that's not all 3 of them. That's just the first one, okay? Location is crucial. You have got to be where the ducks want to be or a place they don't mind going. And you can find these places by scouting. Scouting pays off, guys. You have got to get out and scout. But I do understand we all work, we all have jobs. Sometimes you only have a couple of days a week on the weekend to hunt. You may not have a lot of time to scout. And that's okay. If you don't have a lot of time to scout, you can do what I do when we're on the road. When Kate and I are on the road and we have a set amount of days we got to hunt, and a couple of those days are going to be travel days. Travel days to where the destination we're going, and then another travel day back home. So we get cut short a couple of days. So what we do is we pick out some locations. As soon as we get there, before we ever go on our first hunt, we go look at them, kind of see where they are, establish the parking areas, where we got to park, how far of a walk it is, and if we can get to the hole quickly and take a look at it, great. If not, we're moving. We're constantly moving. And if we don't have time to do that, we find the places on Onyx, the marshes, whether it be on the state website or on Onyx, we find them and we go on a blind hunt, which will be like a hunt scout. If we have some success, great. If not, we learn some things about that particular location. Water level, what does that place have to offer? Is it a roost? Is it a loaf? Is there anything coming there? Is it underneath a flight route? Lots of things you can learn even by just going on a hunt scout. So, number 1, location, location, location. Crucial. Number 2, hide. Hide is crucial. Almost as crucial as location, because once you find a location and you're on a good spot, if you don't have a good hide, you're not going to have a good hunt, okay? So once you find a good location, you've got to figure out, how am I going to hide? Where am I going to hide? Am I going to be in a layout blind? Am I going to be in a layout boat? Am I going to be in a panel blind or an A-frame? Am I going to build a makeshift blind out of natural vegetation? Or am I going to just tuck back into grass like a natural blind? How am I going to hide? So you got to make sure you're hidden good. And another thing you always need to take into consideration when you're establishing your hide is your overhead cover. If you can have some overhead cover, the better off you are. That works out pretty good for you if you're in a layout blind or a layout boat. Sometimes that can be the downside to an A-frame or panel blind, as well as a natural blind, a natural vegetation blind. But the bonus side to a natural blind, whether you built it or it's already existing, you can cut some more brush, cut some grass, cut some limbs, and do your best to try to encapsulate yourself, okay? Hide, because your ducks are going to be above you working. If they can see down on you, down in there, you're busted, okay? So hide is a huge thing. It's number 2 on my list, and it should be on yours as well. Number 3, decoys. Now, some people may be thinking, number 3 is your decoys? Yes. Number 3 is decoys for me, okay? And the reason I say that is because a lot of people like to go out there and they put their decoys in a certain pattern. And by pattern, I mean they may put them in an X, or they may put them in a U or a C shape, you know, kind of build a wall to try to stop your ducks and get them in your shooting hole. I get that, but what I try to do when I set my decoys is I match what I see when I scout, or I think about what ducks look like on the water. Well, look, we've all seen ducks on the water, okay? Have you ever seen ducks out there in an X pattern or a C shape? Come on. If you see them out there, they're usually rafted up or they're spread out down amongst the grass. You may have a few resters or sleepers off by themselves, a little small 2 or 3 group, but for the most part, they're going to be fairly paired up, 2 or 3 little groups, you know, in each group, 2 or 3 birds per group, and they're going to be spread out browsing. That's what they're doing. So I try to make my decoys match what they would look like if they were real ducks and they were on the water in that marsh browsing around. Another crucial thing about your decoys, which is why it's in my top 3, is motion in the decoys. You've got to have motion, okay? Them ducks need to be moving. They're not, real ducks are not just sitting out there on the water not moving. They're constantly moving. So you need some motion in your decoys. You can achieve this by a jerk string, or maybe if you have like a Higdon pulsator, something like that. Put those things out there, get some motion in the water. I use the motion duck system. I love it. I think it's great. It looks a lot better and way more realistic to me than just a traditional jerk cord with, you know, 2 or 3 ducks in a straight line on it. To me, that just doesn't look right. I realize that, you know, the thought and the process, the principle behind just a traditional jerk string is to put ripples on the water and to show a little bit of motion. But I think if you're going to be pulling a string and putting manual motion in the decoys, then let's try to make it lifelike. So I use the motion duck spreader. You may use a regular traditional jerk rig. That's okay. The main thing is get some motion in your decoys. I hope these top 3 factors help you out this duck season. If you want some more tips, you can check out these 2 videos up here. And that's all I've got for you this week. So until next time, y'all bust them up.